was like, he asked me, he was like, can I eat it? And I was like, eat what? Eat what? Like, I'm playing dumb. What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Aisha. This is Aisha's Life. Today I have another story time for you guys. We're gonna be talking about the time a guy friend zoned himself. Okay, because it wasn't me. If you enjoy my story times, please make sure you put down in the comment section down below to any other stories you would like to hear from me. Okay, so we're gonna call this guy James. So James and I had met just like everybody else meet these days, online. I met him online, and you know, initially it definitely was supposed to be like a one and done type situation. Like, it was gonna be something like that. But it turned out to be an actual friendship. We would talk all the time. We started to meet up. We started to go on, like, I wouldn't call them dates, but like we started to like hang out. So let's get to day one. Okay, so day one, when we were like, okay, let's actually like meet up and let's go somewhere. Now, I was under the impression it was a date because that's what I was told. He was like, well, let's go out, I wouldn't mind. I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. So we decided to go to Applebee's. He picked me up from my house, and my grandma, my auntie, and my cousin was like, where are you going? And I was like, well, I kind of got a date. So the whole day I was like getting ready, like slowly getting ready and stuff. That's kind of what it was. Like, I was ready, and I think I left the house around like 6 o'clock that day, because I remember it was like rush hour outside. Like, it was a lot of traffic outside once we hit the main road. We get to the restaurant, y'all, this man hits somebody's car. Literally, when we get into the actual like parking lot of Applebee's, he hits somebody's car. So I'm like, oh, this is not starting off right. The whole time we was driving there, he asked me questions about, like, you know, little random stuff, like first date type questions, like I'm meeting you for the first time type questions, and I'm answering them. I asked him stuff too. It was smooth. The vibe was good. He had good music. He smelled good. He looked good. The fucking car was nice. You know, it was a nice little vibe. So to Applebee's. Applebee's was great. We ate, and then we ended up going to a park, and we literally sat at this park, y'all, till about 10-12 o'clock, just talking, getting to know each other. And then I had found out that day that he knew an ex, but he didn't become an ex until years later, because y'all find that out later. Yes, we was sitting there at the park just talking. He was telling me about his dad getting killed, and well, I don't know if I can say that. His dad ended up passing away. And he saw him like on the ground outside and stuff, and it was really traumatic. So we kind of bonded over our parents and like all that type of stuff and like our family lives. And I'm like, this guy may be really, really cool. Like, this may be a real little good situation for me. Girl, we ended up getting back to my house. He was like, well, can I have a hug? Can I have a kiss? I'm like, sure, whatever. Like, it's cool. So I went back into the house. Everybody's like, oh my God, like, that's crazy. Like, how was it? And I'm like, oh, it's good. Didn't really say too much because, like, we didn't do nothing. We literally just talked. Weeks and months into our little friendship here, we had a conversation. He was like, I feel like you starting to catch feelings for me, and I just want to let you know, like, I don't want to go there with you. And I'm like, yeah, same. Like, I had just got out of a 5-year relationship. At that point, I was kind of still on and off with that guy, but y'all know about that soon. But I was like, yeah, I'm kind of like getting out of something right now. I don't want anything too seriously. Like, this is literally the summer as my high school graduation. Like, I graduated, and then I met him like that August. So I'm like, yeah, I don't really want anything either. And so he was like, okay, cool. So we're just gonna be friends. I said, yeah, like I can do that. I can be a friend, you know? So months and a year into it, like, we're still on the friend thing. Like, he's coming over, I'm going to his house, and you know, it's really going good. So one night he hit me up. He's like, hey, you want to come to my house tonight? We could just chill. We can watch The Purge, And I'm like, sounds like a plan to me, buddy. So he comes to pick me up, and he's like asking me about my vision stuff. If y'all don't know, your girl is visually impaired. If you want to see that story, it's the pinned video to my channel. So he was like, yeah, like, tell me more about that. So I'm telling him, and this far into it, like, I still hadn't really told him about my vision, but at that time he kind of could see what I could see when I was around him. So he didn't really question nothing, right? So here we go. We are on his way to his house, and he was like, hey, you want to stop and get something to eat? I'm like, yeah, sure, like, I don't mind. When I left the house, I told my cousin, I was like, hey, I'm about to go out with dudes, like, you already know, you know, James, like, you know him. I'm going with him today. So he's like, all right. up around like 9-10 o'clock that night. Like, it was late. It was definitely dark outside. As we're driving to the house, like I said, he was asking questions and things, and I'm answering them about my belongings and stuff. And then he was like, well, can you drive? You want to drive? He kept asking me, did I want to drive? And I'm like, nah, not early. Like, that's not something I really can do. He was like, it's just a straight shot. You think you're gonna like wreck my car or something? I'm like, let's not test it. So we pull up, I think, to Wendy's, and he's like, I really want something to eat. Like, man, I'm just so hungry. And I'm like, okay, like, I had already ate, so I'm like, nah, I don't want them, because he asked me, and I'm like, nah, I'm good, I'm cool, I'm straight. We get back over there to his mom's house, and yes, he lived with his mom, but like I said, I just graduated, and I know damn well he had just graduated, so it made sense. So we're getting up in there in his mom's house, and I ended up sitting on the floor when we came to his room. He asked me, he was like, well, why are you sitting on the floor? Like, get up, girl, get up on this bed. And I was like, nah, I'm okay. I'm straight. I can sit down here. It's cool. Because like I said, we're supposed to be friends. So he's laying on the bed, and I hear him texting, like his hands, like it's going, like he's texting somebody, right? And I keep hearing like Tinder notifications go off. I keep hearing Meet Me notifications go off. Like, I'm hearing these sounds. I know what they sound like. So he was like, he asked me, he was like, can I eat it? And I was like, eat what? Eat what? Like, I'm playing dumb.
In this moment, the main reason I was playing dumb is because we had never had a conversation about sex or like doing anything with each other, becoming sex buddies. Like, we had never talked about that. So I honestly felt blindsided sitting in his room. Obviously, like, the mood was set, like he thought something gonna happen, but like, I don't think I said that, so I had to pop in and say,
I'm like, let me go to the bathroom. So I called my cousin, and then I hung up. I hung up from calling my cousin. And then I'm just standing in the bathroom like, no. Like, we just had a conversation about us just being cool, just being friends. And then here we are, like, once again, like, having this situation to where you were asking me, well, for the first time, I felt like I was backed against the wall. Like, you're asking me, do I want to have sex with you? And that's not what we said we were going to be. We said we're going to be friends. I'm respecting that, because at that time I had already started talking to somebody else, the guy that ended up being my boyfriend for like 9 months, but y'all know about that soon. I'm like, no, no. So he's like texting. At this point, we done watched The Purge 1. He's put in The Purge 2, and Purge 2 is going, and I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go home. The Purge 2 ends, and he puts on some other movie about some like weird, like, I don't know, the water was poisoned, people's flesh was falling. Like, it was a weird video, and he knew that I wasn't really into like scary movies bad enough. I didn't want to watch The Purge, but I just wanted to hang out with him and chill with him. And he asked me a couple more times, like, hey, you know, if I don't make you feel comfortable, like, I will stop asking, but I just really want to eat it, man. I just want to eat it. And I'm like, no, like, I don't want to do that. Like, no. He started saying, oh, I'm just so tired now. So after he done ate, we done watched these 2 movies. At this point, I'm ready to go home because I'm irritated. I'm tired of sitting here with you, and you keep telling me that you are ready for me to like just like spread eagle and your mom in the next room. No, it wasn't happening. Like 2 in the morning, y'all. Like 2 in the morning. And I'm like, bro, like, call me an Uber or something. Like, you're taking me home tonight. We're not about to sit here and you go to sleep and I'll be sitting here in the morning waking up in the days because I don't know where the fuck I'm at. He was like, all right, man, come on. He puts his stuff on, like, because he ended up taking his pants off, because y'all know dudes wear pants over their shorts. So he ends up putting his pants back on, and we go to his car. Y'all, he's like walking down the hall real fast. He's stomping down the steps to get out the apartment building, and I'm like, okay. The car ride, he had no music on. He was silent, but he's still texting. We pull up to the house, and it was like one of those, like, where the car like jerks when it stopped. He ended up stopping the car real hard, and he was like, you know, I'm about to go see another girl, right? I said, I don't care. Like, I'm not your girlfriend. We're not dating. Like, that's not us. So I don't care. Y'all, when I slammed that door, right when the door hit boom and it slammed, this man was already full speed going to the freaking stop sign, which was weird because the stop sign was like 2 houses down from my house. So don't know why he was speeding like that. I walk into the house and I'm like, that was so weird. Like, bro, like, that's weird. So fast forward, months on past. And we saw each other like 1 or 2 more times before I had moved to the city I live in now. And he came to see me one day, and this is like before I had got into my first apartment, and he was like, hey, like, you know, I got a baby. And I'm like, you got a baby? He's like, yeah, this girl done had a baby by me. I got a DNA test. This is my baby, da da da. And I'm like, oh, congratulations. He sent me pictures of his child. But oh, this is before he came over. He sent me pictures of his child, and then he was like, "Hey, can I come see you today?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I told him where I'm at. I gave him the address to my house. He came over, and he's like, "Yeah, that's messed up that you wouldn't let me, do that with you, because I think that you would have been my first baby mama." And I'm like, "Yo, first baby mama? Your first baby mama? Your first baby mama? Like what?" I'm like, "No, like that's not what have happened. It wouldn't have happened." And he's like, "Nah, for real, I think that this is what it worked out, or whatever." And I'm like, "No." My family did know him. My family, knew who he was, because he would come over. He would come get me. He would like come in the house. He would come sit and chill. Like, they knew who he was. But like I said, we made each other friends in the beginning, so I stuck to that. But the whole time that I was with him, well, not with him, but around him, he had more feelings for me than I had for him. It was definitely one of those situations. But if he never had told me in the beginning, like, this is just what I want, a friend, I would have given him more. But I couldn't, because you told me it was friends. We were friends. Moved into my first apartment, and I ended up getting with like 2 different dudes that year, like on some like, oh, I want to be with you type stuff, but neither one of those worked out. I ended up meeting my boyfriend in 2019, and he found out about it because he was still following me on Instagram. And I had posted my boyfriend, and he hit me up, and he was like, "Oh, so that's you? You got to do it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got a man, da da da." And I told Anthony about, me and James and our whole situation, how, we would be close, but it was never anything sexual. It was just like kisses and hugs. Like, that literally was it. So Anthony was like not worried about doing it all, especially we're not even in the same city. So like, there was nothing to be worried over. Dude kind of like was just, "Oh, that's you. Oh, that's crazy. Like, you really breaking my heart right now." And I'm like, "Bruh, you told me you wanted to be friends. That's what I stuck to. You went and had a baby. If anybody was going to be mad at anything, you had 2 kids in the midst of the time that you kept trying to press me to be in a relationship." And I was like, "You put yourself in a situation to make yourself be a friend. That's what you wanted. That's what I gave you. And you're just upset because I gave you the energy that you wanted." I was like, "I'm not, naive in no way. So I gave you what you wanted." But at the end of the day, I don't think I would have ever did anything with him, because I knew about all the girls that he was talking to. I knew, the type of things that they would get into, like him having like orgies and things like that. Like, I knew about that. And so I didn't want no parts, especially with him telling me like he, had to go get checked off. And I'm like, that's cool for people that, especially this check that's doing stuff with multiple people at one time. Like, I get it, but I didn't want no parts of that. I didn't want to be a part of that at all. So when I got my boyfriend, me and him was kind of still texting, like in the beginning stages, like the beginning months of me and Anthony being together. And one day, dude sent me a D pic. I told Anthony about it, and I'm like, "Don't worry about it, babe. I've already blocked him." Like, the conversation wasn't even a thing at that time. Like, we had talked a couple of weeks when me and Anthony first got together, but after that, like, I was like, "Yeah, I can't talk to him no more." Like, because I knew the type of thoughts he had about me, right? I told Anthony, I was like, "Yeah, he sent me a D pic," and Anthony was pissed, because he's like, "Man, that's so disrespectful," especially after the fact that he done saw who I was, and he knew that you was in a relationship, and that's fucked up. Like, that's real disrespectful. He don't respect me. I'm like, "No, he don't." But at the end of the day, the crazy thing is, like, I still see him on my Instagram. Like, he still pops up on my Instagram. Yeah, like, you friend zoned yourself. In my head, like, yeah, I was not probably the most smartest dingleberry in the dingleberry tree, but at the same time, like, that's what you wanted. I gave you what you wanted. You wanted to be a friend. We was friends. You wanted more. I got in a relationship, and you decided that you was gonna press me even more, and it didn't work. So yeah, that was my story of the time a guy friends on his goddamn self. If this is your first time watching me, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button with that bell, press all to get all notifications, and like this video, because baby, more stories are coming.